Look straight ahead for a second. We tend to trust our eyes implicitly, right? But imagine an invisible threat, a stealthy intruder that slowly, quietly steals away something incredibly precious to you and leaves absolutely no clues behind until the damage is already done. Well, today's explainer is about exactly that kind of threat to our health. We're looking at a disease that operates entirely in the shadows of human biology. Okay, let's dive into this.
It kind of sounds like the premise of a suspense movie, doesn't it? But seriously, what if your vision was disappearing right now and you couldn't even tell? That is the unsettling reality for millions of people. You see, our visual system is incredibly complex, but it's also remarkably adaptive. And in this specific case, that adaptability actually works against us. It adapts so well that it can be compromised completely silently.
So here is the crucial, staggering point you need to take away from this. Half of the people with glaucoma don't even know they have it. Just let that sink in for a second. 50% of people walking around with this condition are completely unaware that their sight is actively being diminished. At first, this disease doesn't usually present any symptoms at all, literally none. It is the ultimate silent thief.
Now, you might be wondering, why on earth is it so hard to detect? Well, it's all about where it strikes first. Over time, the vision loss usually starts in your peripheral vision, your side vision. And specifically, it often attacks the part of your vision closest to your nose. Because this happens incredibly slowly, right out there on the very edges of our visual field, our brain just doesn't register the changing image. You literally cannot tell that your sight is changing at first.
Let's officially define our culprit here. Glaucoma isn't actually just one single thing. It's a whole group of eye diseases. And what they all have in common is that they cause vision loss and eventually blindness by damaging a very specific pathway. That pathway is the optic nerve in the back of your eye. Think of the optic nerve as the vital data cable connecting your camera, which is your eye, to your computer, your brain. If that cable gets damaged, the image just gets lost, no matter how perfectly the camera itself is working.
Now, what's truly fascinating, and honestly a bit mysterious, is what exactly initiates this damage. Scientists aren't 100% sure what causes the most common types, but high eye pressure is heavily linked to optic nerve damage. We know for sure that treatments that lower this pressure are proven to help slow the disease down. But, and here is a fascinating twist, some people with high eye pressure never actually get glaucoma. And there's actually a type of glaucoma that happens in people with completely normal eye pressure. Turns out, normal really varies from person to person.
As I mentioned, there are several different types of this disease. The most common type here in the US is called open-angle glaucoma. When most people talk about glaucoma, this is the slow, silent thief they're referring to. But there's a second, less common type called angle closure glaucoma. And unlike its silent partner, angle closure glaucoma announces itself really loudly.
If angle closure glaucoma strikes, it causes sudden, severe symptoms. We're talking intense eye pain, an upset stomach or nausea, a red eye, and really blurry vision. This is absolutely critical to remember. If you or anyone you know experiences these sudden symptoms, it is a medical emergency. No waiting around. You have to go to your doctor or an emergency room immediately to save your sight.
So let's bring this a little closer to home. Are you in the crosshairs of this invisible threat? Well, while anyone can get glaucoma, the data clearly shows us that certain demographics carry a much heavier burden. Let's take a second to evaluate the personal stakes here. Here are the high-risk groups. You're at a higher risk if you're over the age of 60, especially if you're Hispanic or Latino. You're also at higher risk if you are African American and over the age of 40. And finally, genetics play a massive role. Having a family history of glaucoma puts you right into this high-risk category. If you fit into any of these groups, it's highly recommended to get checked every 1 to 2 years. Take a moment right now to mentally check off if you, or maybe your parents or grandparents, fit this profile.
Now, it's a hard truth to hear, but currently there's just no way to prevent glaucoma from starting. There's no magic pill. But listen, we aren't helpless. This fact is exactly why early detection is our absolute greatest weapon. We can fight back by finding it way before it permanently steals our sight.
So how exactly do we catch an invisible thief? Through a comprehensive dilated eye exam. Let's demystify this for a second. It's a simple, completely painless exam. Your eye doctor will give you some drops to widen or dilate your pupil, and this just opens up the window to the back of your eye, allowing the doctor to look directly at that crucial optic nerve and check for glaucoma and other potential problems.
An absolutely essential part of that comprehensive exam is the visual field test. Remember earlier when we talked about how vision loss usually starts on the edges, especially right near your nose? Well, the visual field test specifically checks that side vision to uncover any hidden blind spots that your brain has just been casually ignoring. It essentially maps out exactly what you can and cannot see.
It's completely natural to feel a bit of anxiety right now. You might be thinking, okay, if there's no cure and no way to prevent it from starting, what actually happens if my doctor finds it? What does life look like after a diagnosis?
Well, here is the central message of hope in today's explainer. Treatment cannot undo the damage that has already occurred, but it absolutely can stop it from getting worse. And this is exactly why getting tested is so incredibly important. Early intervention is the key to locking the disease in place and protecting whatever vision you still have.
To fight back, doctors use a progressive escalation of treatments to lower the pressure inside your eye and save that optic nerve. And this brilliantly illustrates how we manage the condition. Step 1 is usually medicines, typically prescription eye drops that you take daily. Step 2, if needed, is laser treatment. It's a simple in-office procedure to help fluid drain out of the eye. And Step 3, if those other methods just aren't doing the trick, is surgery. There are several different types of procedures to manually help that fluid drain. The ultimate goal, every single time, is to relieve that pressure.
If you do get diagnosed, you need a concrete action plan. To keep your sight strong, make sure you take your prescribed medicine every single day. Always tell your doctor about any side effects. Go to your regular checkups, and this is crucial. Tell your relatives so they can get checked too. Also, if vision loss is making daily tasks hard, you can absolutely ask your doctor about vision rehabilitation services to help you adapt.
We started all this by talking about a stealthy intruder. But the real mystery here isn't that glaucoma hides in plain sight, just out of our peripheral view. The real mystery is whether you will catch it in time. The tools to detect it absolutely exist. The treatments to stop it from getting worse exist too. The only missing piece of the puzzle is you actually making that appointment. So I'm going to leave you with this. When was your last dilated eye exam?